Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
You know, it's kind of scary, but it's also almost... It's kind of scary, but it's almost got to the point where I want to give it a go, too. I want to try it. I mean, I don't really have to deny anything. I don't really have to defend myself all that often. Like, my choices are my choices, and generally speaking, the only person that's really affected by them is me. I mean, occasionally at work, I'll be asked, why'd you do that? Why'd you put that song there? Why did you do these things? And I tell them, and that's just it. I guess I'm being a little vague. Maybe I'm beating around the bush a little bit.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Well, what I'm tempted to try and do is the fake news alternative facts thing. Like, next time I've got somebody who wants to give me a hard time for something or accuse me of doing something or say I did something wrong or said something offensive or hurt somebody, I just went, no, I didn't. You're fake news. Alternative facts. No, that recording of me was inauthentic. Like... It's incredible how much that sentiment has pervaded the culture. I think I am probably in the top 5% of the... I'm in the top 5th percentile of intelligence in America. I'm just going to say that. I think I am. And that's not saying I'm so freaking smart. That is a stunning indictment on the intelligence of the vast majority of the people walking around. It's just like, seriously? You think that's okay? You think... that you can just say these things and do these things and get away with them and have absolutely nothing to answer for. Well, sure. Seems to work for Roy Moore. Seems to work for Donald Trump. I don't know if that tape of me saying those things to Billy Bush was authentic. No, I never knew those women. But you said you did. Yeah, but I didn't. Fake news, alternative facts. It's a witch hunt. So, like, I'm kind of... toying with the idea of next time I really get in trouble, next time I get called into the big boss's office and get hauled out for doing something. No, it wasn't me. No, fake news, alternative facts. No, inauthentic recording. Because it seems to work, and not only that, but it pervades the society of the culture in which we live, where the truth has become this nebulous, ambiguous thing that is all too difficult to find. And all everybody really wants is a grain of truth. But it seems to get further and further away, more obscured every single day. Am I making sense now, Funkhouser? Do you see what I'm getting at? Do you see where we're going with this?
Yeah.
Look, Al Franken bailed. Al Franken bailed on his gig after numerous accusations of sexual harassment. Bernie Sanders went on the record this past weekend, just gone by, saying Al Franken felt it proper for him to resign. Here you have a president who has been accused by many women of assault, who says on a tape that he assaulted women. He might want to think about doing the same. Now, look, this is obviously political sniping and point scoring and all of the above. And, you know, a Democrat's going to take any opportunity they have to tear down a Republican and vice versa. And this is not a partisan issue. Obviously, we've seen that the idea of sexual impropriety, sexual misconduct, rape, molestation, all of this stuff, there is not a partisan aspect to this. There are numerous people that are guilty. It is horrifying, and it has nothing to do with their politics. But it has been used as a tool by both the left and the right to score political points recently. But what's interesting is that, well, Franken... There were enough Democratic female senators that demanded Franken resigned that he decided he was going to do it. Meanwhile,
I am leaving while a man who has bragged on tape about his history of sexual assault sits in the Oval Office, and a man who has repeatedly preyed on young girls campaigns for the Senate with the full support of his party.
Yeah, that was his last swipe as a politician. I mean, if he's going to make himself a sacrificial lamb, which it sounds like he did, and sounds like he should, he's going to go down swinging. He's going to take one last shot. not the most credible individual on the face of the planet right now. That's for freaking sure. But he's got to take one last shot. You think I'm bad? I have to resign, and I've only done this. It's basically the same thing Billy Bush did. He went, whoa, what do you mean that tape? What do you mean that tape is inaccurate? I was there. You said it, Donald. Come on. Billy Bush is hopping freaking mad. We talked about this on the show last week. Billy Bush had to quit. Everything, life. He had to donate $10 million to a women's advocacy group. He still hasn't managed to get his job back. His wife still left him. And there, the guy who was on the tape, all he did was kind of like laugh along and go along with it. The guy on the tape who perpetrated the crime is in the highest office on the face of the freaking planet.
Let's start the show. Real Radio 94.3 on the Treasure Coast 101.7.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
So like I said, the truth becomes that much more of a nebulous quality. And it seems like any accusation that is leveled against you, all you have to do is say fake news, alternative facts, and you immediately become less culpable. I was framed. The dog ate my homework. Checks in the mail. These are all excuses. These are all defenses that are equally as plausible as your fake news, your alternative facts, which is not at all. Yet for some reason, saying no, you're wrong, you're incorrect, that's fake news, those are alternative facts, seems to have become the go-to. And it seems to, this is the part that boggles my freaking mind, it seems to work. It's bananas. It really is. The Roy Moore thing blows my mind. Tomorrow, special election. I can't wait to see how that goes. Just because it'll give a very clear indicator of where we're at in society. The person who really blows my mind on this one is Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, who decided Roy Moore was trouble and had to go. Roy Moore was a political liability. Mitch McConnell has proven himself to be unbelievably spineless in this respect. It's not about a matter of principle. Everyone loves to act so principled. Everyone loves to act like they're morally outraged. It's an affront to the fabric of society that holds us together oh so tenuously in 2017. Can't have that. And apply that argument to whatever the hell you want. But if it's winning for you, F it. Have some money. Have some robocalls. Mitch McConnell, in case you missed it, when the whole Roy Moore thing came out, when Roy Moore was accused by various women of molesting them when they were underage, dating them when they were underage, and all the above, Mitch McConnell went, I've seen enough. I think he should step down. And then exactly the same thing happened to Roy Moore as it happened to Donald Trump after the Billy Bush tape. Started pulling up. People doubled down on their support of him. This guy who's a bit of a folk hero just went fake news, alternative facts. And the people that believed in him. Now, look, you might recall a couple of weeks ago, I was saying, I cannot believe that Mitch McConnell would turn on this guy so quickly without a shred of real tangible evidence here. Look, do I think Roy Moore is guilty? Yeah, I do. Just that would be my gut feeling. That's what I think. But I'm not someone who has to consider it as closely as a registered voter in Alabama. That's my gut. But I don't have any proof. And with that same lack of proof, the Republican Party, Mitch McConnell at the head of them, said, no more Roy Moore. You got to go. You got to step down. No, there's enough smoke. There's got to be some fire. No, you're gone. Oh, wait, hold on. What? What's that you say? Really? What? Oh, he's gaining ground. He's ahead. We might actually win this thing. I think we should let the people need to decide on this one. The people. In the meantime, have some money, have some resources. How about a Trump robocall? What if we got Donald Trump to record a robocall for your campaign? How would that be? How quickly he 180'd. in a case where he was so determined to stick to his guns because this was a matter of child abuse. How quickly he 180'd on a matter of child abuse when the thought of winning was dangled in front of him. It's disgusting. So like I said, the idea of truth becomes that much more elusive every single freaking day. What is the truth? Well, we have to listen to people. We have to listen to these accusers in the sexual misconduct cases. And let's be real here. A very, very important thing has happened over the last several weeks. People feel empowered and emboldened and able to speak out without fear of losing their jobs, without fear of repercussion for doing the right thing. Still not easy. Still not something that you can completely know that you're going to get off scot-free with. If somebody raped you at knife point and said, oh, you'll lose your job if you talk to anyone about it, there's still the possibility that you could just lose your job and your story will never be heard. And that's terrible. But we've come a long way in a very short amount of time, and these people have to be listened to. People have to have their stories heard. People have to have their accusations heard because it brings us closer to the truth. There is, of course, also an element of a wizard hunt, as we've been calling it over the last couple of weeks. And that's par for the course. But it is incredible. It is incredible how little backbone or principle McConnell and folks like McConnell acted with in this situation. How quickly they turned when it looked like there was political power to be gained. How quickly they were willing to shove their principles aside that they were sticking so steadfastly to just a week before in order to make up a little bit of ground. And when people near the very top of the food chain, in terms of who's in charge in this country, show that level of disinterest in the truth and principle, it's a scary, scary time. And it's why we, on this show, will always endeavor to bring you as close as we possibly can to the truth by having open and frank discussions about every side of every situation that's happening. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. Mark Twain.
Real Radio 94.3 on the Treasure Coast 101.7.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on.
Oh, well, that's kind of interesting. Do you see this, Funkhouser? Here's something that never would have happened when Megyn Kelly was at Fox News. She had a civil conversation with Alec Baldwin. Did you catch that?
No.
Oh, it's interesting. Alec called for some restraint from the media in reporting on allegations, which kind of makes me feel like he might be next. I don't know. He's like, the media needs to chill on this stuff. Do they? I mean, look, like... Well, here's what he said. He said, you certainly want to see everyone who is guilty of something, who have done bad things, wrong things, and hurt people. You want to see those people get punished. But I don't want to see other people get pulled into that, who there's a lot of accusations and no proof yet. I don't want to see people get hurt. That's what he said. So, yeah, there you go. Do you think he's next, Funkhouser?
He's already had
he's
his.
telling the You what?
He's already had his before, didn't he?
Well, I mean, look, there was the, I can't remember if Kim Basinger, they were married for a while. I can't remember if Kim Basinger accused him of being physically, I don't think it ever got physical between them. I can't remember, and I don't want to say anything. But I mean, the famous thing was the voicemails that she made public of him calling his Remember when he had MSNBC? He had that what was it, an MSNBC show? He had a news TV talk show thing. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, it didn't last for very long. Probably because segments like the rude, thoughtless little pig of the week didn't test very well with audiences. There was that famous voicemail where he was calling his daughter a rude, thoughtless little pig. And yeah, I don't know. Doesn't seem like a great guy from that respect. Didn't make me think he seems fun to hang out with. And boy, being married to him must have been a treat. And why couldn't I be his kid instead of my dad's? Like, none of these things went through my mind when I found out how he spoke to the people that were in his family. So, yeah, I wonder. I don't know. We'll see. Another buddy of mine that I spoke to today from the Midwest, he was like, hey, so yeah, state of the world. Oh, really something. He's like, what about your Garrison Keillor guy? I was like, you know what? Thank you for waiting a week or so to bring that up. As opposed to everybody else who was like, isn't that your guy? Isn't that your hero? Isn't that your dude? Isn't that like, what the hell? Do you go up to guys in wheelchairs moonwalking too? You insensitive a-hole. Garrison Keillor. It's true though. Like, it's like, I've already got a cut. Why did the entire world want to pour lemon juice on it? Like, yes, your hero, this guy that you loved, whose writing and whose radio work meant so much to you, has been accused of something that will ruin if it turns out he is guilty of sexual misconduct. You can't do it. You can't get into it. I tried with the Bill Cosby stuff because, like, look, who among us didn't? And I pretty much lost my being okay with Bill Cosby after the first round of allegations when I heard some things were settled out of court. It kind of tainted the Cosby Show for me. And then when all the other stuff happened, I was like, man, I got so much out of the Cosby Show when I was a kid. I was so looking forward to this idea of watching it with any children that I might have. This idea that Theo had dyslexia, but he managed to overcome. Where there's a problem, there's a way to solve it. That life is going to throw all sorts of roadblocks at you, and you're going to find a hurdle. You're going to find a way to hurdle over them, and it's going to be fantastic. And when your family's depressed, you're going to hang around and dance with them, hilariously lip sync to classic jazz and blues records. And man, the Cosby Show taught us all so many life lessons. And I was like, I still want to be able to watch these things with kids if I have them, because it's so important, so valuable. Learn so much from the show about how to make my way in the world. And yeah, it's completely 100% tainted, and it's been tainted for like freaking ever. It was tainted the moment it happened, after the first round of accusations, which went away until Hannibal Buress threw gasoline on what little remained of the ember of the idea of Bill Cosby's guilt, and it all blew up in a massive bonfire of ugh. But when Garrison Keillor, when that happened, everybody called me over and over again about it. And I was just like, you gotta, what the hell are you doing? Why would you want to rub this in? Yes, of course I've heard. I have a phone. I have an internet connection. I know. I know. Garrison Keillor said Minnesota Public Radio fired him without a full and fair investigation. And look, I love this guy. I love this guy's work. Have for a long time. And the moment I heard it, and the moment I read the story of what happened, where he said he went to console a woman who was wearing a backless dress, and his hand slipped in that backless dress, and she recoiled, and he apologized, and they were friendly up until the day her lawyer called. I was like, I kind of believe that, and I want to believe that because this guy's meant so much to me. And then I was like, oh man, is this why women feel afraid to come forward? Because I'm going, I love Lake Wobegon. I love Prairie Home Companion. I love his work. I've been to see him like 15 times. This guy means so much to me. Of course, he couldn't have done anything improper. Is that why women feel afraid to come forward in these situations? Because this person's so popular. This person has influence and everybody loves him to the point where no one will believe him, and it'll be career suicide for them if they do. And it really made me check myself. But having checked myself, I just find that with Garrison Keillor, I'm apt to believe that he is more a casualty of the wizard hunt. The folks over at Minnesota Public Radio said, oh, if you knew what we knew, which we're not talking about, you would know this was the right decision. And I don't know. I don't think that you can have a guy on public radio with these accusations out there and continue to exist. You're a public radio. You, before anybody else, will be crucified in the court of public opinion. And people will stop donating money. That's the interesting thing. That was really my indicator that, boy, it really is, for a lot of people, a fiscal thing. It's not a matter of principle. It's a matter of money and power, like we were talking about with Mitch McConnell. With Minnesota Public Radio, their lifeline is the people that donate money. And if they stop donating money, oof, you are done, and you are done quickly. Now, with commercial radio and television and things like that, and why folks like, well, look at all the settlements that happened over Fox News, why they're willing to hold on for a lot longer is because, well, you got to lose sponsors. So if you keep things hush-hush for long enough, chances are you're going to be able to hold on to these sponsors. Now, once sponsors start pulling their money, you're in trouble. But if some sponsors decide they're going to stick with you, well, that can kind of help you make up ground. But with public radio, I think that's why Garrison Keillor was gone without even an afterthought. They thought, here's this guy who's probably costing us a lot of money. He's technically retired, but he does like 2 pieces of content a week. And once this gets out, there's so many people are going to pull their donations. What's interesting, though, is what happened was sort of the opposite. There's been so many people saying that until you apologize to him, until you put him back on the radio, we're pulling our donations. But then there's also been people saying, like, here's double donation for what I was going to give this month because you did the right thing. So who the hell's to say? Who the hell's to know, really? The truth. It's an elusive quality. But I honestly believe in my gut that Garrison Keillor is a casualty of the wizard hunt. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a fan. Like I said, where there's a certain amount of smoke, there's bound to be fire. And with him, there's been a phenomenally small amount of smoke. Did you see that thing?
Thanks for the fire reference, by the way.
You what now?
Thanks for the fire reference, by the way. Throw me right back in there.
Yeah, sorry. Did your power come back?
Well, obviously.
Yeah, right. Gotcha. But I mean, I think he said something that was really kind of, look, if this is true, if he is, and this is the flip side of it. Yes, women have to be made to feel safe. Men have to be made to feel safe. Anybody that's been the object of any kind of abuse, sexual misconduct, any of these things, people have to feel like it's okay to come forward and say what has happened to them. Got to. And for the longest time, they haven't. The flip side of it is Garrison Keillor said in an interview, and he's continued to protest and talk about his innocence. He said, I'm just bewildered. I spent 50 years building something, and that was his radio career and Prairie Home Companion, the syndicated radio show that he was on, and all these other things that he did. He's like, I spent 50 years building this only to watch it, sorry, Funkhouser, only to watch it be torched in a single morning, which it was. So, yeah, that's where we're at right about now. A man is suing director Bryan Singer for allegedly raping him in 2003 when he was 17 years old. Singer's lawyer says he categorically denies it. Singer was recently fired from the Queen movie, supposedly for fighting with some of the actors and for disappearing without any notice. Had nothing to do with the allegation, allegedly. However, if he knew this allegation was about to come out, you can imagine he would be a little testy. He might fight with the actors and then disappear without any notice because he had some rather large and pressing legal concerns that he knew he was going to have to take care of in the not too distant future. So there we have it. That's about where we're at on this particular Monday. Oh gosh, Funkhouser.
What?
It's depressing, isn't it? Like, yep. it's freaking insanity is what it is. Do you think Donald Trump should step down after having been accused by 19 different women of sexual misconduct?
Yeah. 100%, yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, I kind of don't. And I'll tell you why. Because there needs to be proof. There needs to be, look, as much as I despise the fake news alternative facts way of going through life, there needs to be proof. There is proof of Al Franken. What was the name of the KABC news person who he was groping in that photo?
I can't remember. Shoot.
Yeah. Leanne Tweeden, is that it?
That's it.
Yeah. There's proof. There's a picture of Al Franken groping Leanne Tweeden. That's a thing that definitely happened. Al Franken didn't bother going, well, I don't know. There's proof that happened. The Donald Trump tape is distasteful, and it's revolting, and it's repugnant, and all of the above, and it doesn't paint him in a very positive light, and it makes him seem like kind of a doofus. But hell, I say some stuff that I'm sure, when taken by itself out of context, wouldn't sound too great either. Doesn't mean I actually believe or act upon these things. We don't have the proof. We have proof that Donald Trump has a wildly vulgar sense of humor. I have a wildly vulgar sense of humor sometimes. But we don't have the proof that he actually did these things he's talking about. We don't have the proof. We have, again, it's kind of like the Cosby thing. Do I think he did it? Yes, I do. Yeah, sure. 19 different women say Donald Trump did something to me that was horrendous and awful and falls under the category of sexual misconduct. Yeah, I'm kind of apt to believe it. It's like I said, where there's a certain amount of smoke, there's bound to be some fire. But I don't necessarily think that you can fire the president of these United States of America without some real hard evidence. And maybe there is some of that coming. Maybe there isn't. There was evidence of Franken's wrongdoing and he stepped down. So far with Donald Trump, not so much, I don't think. There's a lot of rumor. There's a lot of hearsay. There's numerous accusations. And in my gut, in my heart of hearts, I believe there's got to be some truth to this. But there's no proof yet. Same as there wasn't proof with Roy Moore. Now, if it really does fall to the people, well, guess what? The people elected Donald Trump. If it really does fall to the people, then the people are going to elect or not elect Roy Moore. Now, if there is some proof, like was presented of Franken doing something that was wildly inappropriate for a senator to be doing, then yeah, sling your hook, hit the road, and we'll just deal with President Pence. But I believe there has to be due process. There has to be fairness. There has to be a genuine pursuit of truth, because largely by Trump's own doing, we've gotten so far away from it. Fake news, alternative facts, next. But fake news. I'm totally trying it next time I get accused of doing something. You played 2 Metallica songs back to back in the 5 o'clock hour. Fake news, alternative facts. We heard it. Did you?
Yeah.
Did you?
Sometimes you just know you're done. You're longing for that shining sun. You walk these streets most every day. You're waiting to get washed away.
Real Radio 94.3 and 101.7 on the Treasure Coast. Online at realradio943.com.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior. Delivering and giving you my musical savior. Back once again, your boy AD, and can't nobody rock a body better than me. Back once again.
So I guess we should do some news, Funkhouser. But before we do, let's well, let me ask you this: what do you buy to cheer yourself up when you're in a lousy mood? Do you have an extravagance that you spend your hard-earned cash on when you're feeling a little down in the dumps?
Yeah.
You gotta tell us what it is.
Yeah, Arby's. Give me three regulars, and I'm a happy camper.
Wait, 3?
Did I say 3? I meant 2. I meant 1. And you know what I don't like is sometimes they have the deal where it's cheaper, and sometimes it's super expensive. So, you know, that's another risk I take when I'm looking for my guilty pleasure, is how much I'm going to spend on meat.
And you're a fan of, I like Arby's. How many is 3 regulars? Like, what do they weigh? Are they like quarter pounders, half pounds? I don't know the
Are you trying to deprive me of my guilty pleasure by completely obliterating it? Yes, there is about a pound of salt in it. and I'm going to die because I've eaten too much of it.
I got to tell you, I've always loved Arby's. Like I love Arby's. I think it's, like when you're not in the mood for a burger, it makes a great alternative. Arby's curly fries. Oh my sweet Lord. Oh, so good. But the thing that I love the most about Arby's is their recent advertising campaign. Like, we have the meat. Have you seen those?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're the best.
They're good.
That one thing with the chicken parm sandwich where he's talking about, like, it's just like this, but with a huge piece of chicken. Like, that's my favorite commercial in years. Whenever I see chicken, I just want a huge piece of chicken. That's what I want.
Yeah, Arby's gets a bad rap.
Why, really? Does it? I thought everybody loved Arby's.
Oh man,
got the horsey sauce. It's so good.
When I went on that trip across the country with that chef, he asked me what my favorite food was. I said Arby's, and I think that's where it ended. That's where our relationship ended.
If you tell a chef that your favorite food is Arby's, then I could understand maybe. Like, you were on a trip with a guy that hired a personal chef to cook for all of you, and if he's like, Funkhouser, what's your favorite meal? Just so I know moving forward. And you're like, I dig Arby's. Of course, he's not going to take that well.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Looking back at it, sure.
Looking back at it, with the benefit of some perspective, you see how that might not have
fake
gone
news.
over.
Fake. You're saying fake news right now. Sure.
Alternative facts. Gosh. Well, the reason I asked, how much, like, your 3 regulars from Arby's, how much did that run you?
Oh man. Okay. Sometimes there's a deal and it's under 10, and sometimes it's about $15. It's too much money.
So are you getting like a family size portion? If it's 3 for under 10, if it's a deal, like that's a deal they want you to, like, usually it's for 4, like when you're feeding a family, it's for 4.
Yeah, I don't know.
That said, when me and my band came over here from England and we just would go to a diner, like, Americans really like to feel like they're getting value for money. Like, we work hard for our cash and we want the very most out of it. And if there's one person that's going to give us more for $1, we're going to go across the street to get more for that $1 because, gosh darn it, we've earned it and Uncle Scam's going to take half of it. And, you totally understand that way of thinking. But when my band came here from America and we just I remember we went to the diner. We went to the Broadway Diner in Long Island. We're looking for something to eat. We're like, oh, diner food. This is New York. This will be fun. This is interesting.
Uh-oh.
And we ordered, all of us were vegans at the time, I think, or vegetarian. So we ordered veggie burger. We ordered like a veggie burger deluxe. You ever gotten one of those?
Nope.
So veggie burger deluxe at your standard diner is basically just a veggie burger and a whole bunch of fries. But it was like a saucer the size of, it was like this big oval saucer plate that was, it was concave because there's no way a flat plate could have held all the food and all the fries properly. It was like a mountain of food. It was something the size of a garbage can lid with a burger and fries and maybe like a little side salad or something. I don't even remember, but it was such a phenomenally large amount of food. We're like, whoa, look at this. We had never seen anything like it. And we ate it and we're just like, oh, okay. All right. And we finished it. Uh-oh. And we all went home and had bad stomach aches and felt terrible. And like, we went back for a couple more veggie burger deluxes. And I remember our bass player looked at me and he was like, I think I've figured it out. I was like, what? He's like, you're not meant to finish it. It's too much food. This is too much food for any human to eat. This is completely unreasonable to put this amount down your gullet into your stomach and go through life. It's not an amount of food that makes any sense for any human being. And I was like, look around you, dude. Everyone's eating it. And they were. And it was just, it was an incredible, incredible moment where I was just like, we eat so much freaking food. And like all those, what is it? Those new Carl's Jr. things where you get like a burger and a chicken sandwich and a soda and some fries for like $5. Like every place now has this like $5 for this, $5 for that. Like Kentucky Fried Chicken has them, like a real meal for $5, I think is how a lot of these places are selling it. And it's just like, you don't need a burger and a chicken sandwich. And it only comes with one drink, so we know that it's meant for the one person. Maybe you take some of it home and save it for later, but fries don't refrigerate well. And I hazard a guess that the vast majority of us scarf it all down in one sitting. We eat so freaking much in this country, and the rest of the world does not do it. No, They don't. So, anyways, the whole reason I asked you if there's anything that you do to cheer yourself up when you're feeling a little down is, well, when you're in a bad mood, do you buy yourself stuff to cheer yourself up? But then you see your bank account balance, which puts you back in a bad mood. So then you buy even more stuff to feel good again. It's a vicious cycle. And according to a new survey, the average American spends, well, how much money do you think you spend every single year cheering yourself up on Arby's?
This is terrible. This is terrible data that I'm learning today. How much a year do I spend on Arby's?
Yeah.
Because I go there when I'm happy. Let me think about that.
Let's just say, like, outside of the usual sustenance needs. Like, if you go to Arby's for lunch, that doesn't count. But if you are feeling lousy and you go for 3 regulars, the way you said you are apt to do, how many times a year do you do that? Bearing in mind it costs you $10.
A lot.
Do some math over the break, and we'll figure it out. And I'll let you know if you're in line with the rest of the country. How much do we spend every single year buying ourselves stuff to cheer us up when we're in a lousy mood? Have a guess. See if you're right. The answer when we get back.
Real Radio 94.3 on the Treasure Coast 101.7.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The dumbing up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
So I'm setting up my home studio, which because I'm not a gazillionaire, Funkhouser, is hold on.
Yeah, what? Oh, yeah, that buzz. Yeah, I was going to ask you
I'm setting
about
up
that
my
thing.
home studio, as we were saying. And it is cool. Like, I'm on like 25 radio stations around the country, and I do it from the comfort of my spare room with Millhouse, the Mets rally puppy, sitting by my feet. As I'm selecting stuff to hang on the wall of my studio, bearing in mind that I'm just kind of sort of getting it set up, like, I know I've got this house guest coming who is a huge, and I do mean huge, Chicago Cubs fan. And one of the coolest things anyone's ever given me was I've got a little bit of, it's in a frame. I've got a little bit of the game day dirt from Wrigley Field and a little piece of the game day ball from Wrigley Field.
Shut your mouth.
When the Mets swept the Chicago Cubs.
Was that 1908
to the
or
World
something?
Series. What?
Was that like 1908 or something?
No, that was 2015, you know.
Oh, okay. I was thinking the time before that, I think.
Anyways. So, the guy who's coming to stay is a huge Chicago Cubs fan. So I made sure to put like the game day ball piece up on the wall from when his Cubs got swept by the New York Mets, which I was going to put up anyway, but I was like, oh no, top priority. So now I'm looking at it and smiling and thinking that, well, he should be okay with it because the next year the Cubs went on to win the World Series and he should feel satisfied with that. But
I'm sure you'll have a conversation about it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know, man. He's kind of a baby when it comes to the Cubs, and I'm kind of a baby when it comes to the Mets. So, like, I'm looking at it now, loving it, thinking, like, oh, he's a Cubs fan. That'll be fun. This is actually a piece of dirt from Wrigley Field on an auspicious day for my Mets when they swept the Cubs. And as I look at it, I wonder now if I'm just being a giant jerk.
Well, it sounds like you're kicking sand in his face. Or dirt.
Not really, because he won a World. Well, his team won the World Series the year afterwards in fine fashion. They did just fine, and they did so much better than the Mets this year. So I don't know.
I think he'll appreciate the honor of it. Probably.
Yeah, I know. Well, I think I'm just going to start with, hey, look, you know what that is? That's dirt from your beloved Wrigley Field. When is it from? Oh, I don't know. Let me check. Anyways, I miss baseball, man. I miss baseball so much. I got nothing.
Can't you hop into like college baseball, or what do they do now? What do they?
So there's like the Arizona fall ball thing, and there's I don't know. I got to get one of those sports packages where, to quote Charlie Sheen in 2.5 Men, if a kid throws a rock at a tree in New Guinea, I can watch it and I can bet on it.
Wait, did he say that, or was it written in a 2.5 Men?
No, it was written in
that is
I think the episode
a wonderful
is like
line.
He has to cut back on stuff, and his brother goes like, do you really need to spend this much on cable? He's like, not my sports package. If a kid throws a rock at a tree in New Guinea, I can watch it and I can bet on it. Anyways, I got to get me one of those.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love to. It's just, but you know, like I don't feel emotionally connected to it unless it's the Mets as well. I mean, like, you know, I could maybe find a way to watch Mets minor league fall ball games, you know, and see what's coming up in the farm
You could be
system.
that guy that watches really old baseball games.
Yeah,
like
I
on
could
tape.
just watch the 86 World Series in a constant loop. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. I'm not sure. Anyways, did you do the math? I know you're just trying to avoid the tough question.
I think
By the way, if you're just joining us, when you're in a bad mood, do you buy stuff to cheer yourself up? If you do, you're like the rest of America. But then you see your bank account balance puts you back in a bad mood. Then you buy even more stuff to feel good again. It's a vicious cycle. And well, scientists have figured out how much we spend per year just cheering ourselves up. Funkhouser, his particular poison that he picks when it comes to getting right with the world is 3 regulars at Arby's, right?
That's right.
And how much would you say you spend on that a year? If your average... And
extra
this is not
Arby's sauce, please. Just
extra Arby's.
Yeah.
Do you like the horsey sauce? Or
no,
the
just the Arby's sauce. At least 2 packets per sandwich. I drizzle it. It's the best.
I got it. The curly fries dipped in the horsey sauce. It's just...
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. So good. So good.
We just sold a lot of sandwiches right now.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, not a paid spokesperson for Arby's. But nevertheless, now I know what to get you for Christmas, Funkhouser.
Yeah.
How many times a year do you cheer yourself up with Arby's?
It's got to be like probably once a month. So
Once a month.
Not that much.
Oh, $120. Let's say it's $10 a pop, $120 a year. You're way under the average, dude.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The average American spends $1,652 every year buying stuff to cheer themselves up when they're in a bad mood. It's roughly $140 a month, about $32 a week, and it's close to 6 figures over your adult life. Yeah, you could eat $100,000 worth of. Like if you were to move to, let's say one of the markets where this show is on. You could eat a house in some of the smaller markets where we're on with what you're willing to spend on Arby's cheering yourself up. Yeah. We also spend 155 hours a year making all those purchases. A little retail therapy, I suppose.
Wow.
I don't think I have something like that.
Yeah, you do.
Sure.
I don't think you buy something though.
Thing that I do to cheer myself up. Well, okay, so I actually don't do this when I'm in a bad mood. I kind of do this to celebrate, but it's still a bit of a frivolous expense. Bear in mind that there's 162 baseball games a year, right? And the New York Mets were under 500 this year. That's still 80 baseball games that they won or thereabouts. Something like that. I can't remember their exact disastrous end of season record. But I'm not entirely sure, but I think most of the time when the Mets win, I buy a T-shirt, like a Mets T-shirt.
Oh, I know what it is.
It's a little celebration.
It's the shoes. No, it's the shoes. You're the shoe guy.
I don't do that to cheer myself up. The sneaker thing is no. I don't have to be in a bad mood to want Adidas. Not even a little bit. Like. I mean, see, the thing with the Mets shirts is like, I tell myself, first, you should know that a lot of the stuff that I buy is stuff that I kind of buy out of homesickness. Like when they give away a promotional Cespedes shirt on Free Shirt Friday or something like that at Citi Field in New York City, I obviously can't go to the game because I don't live in New York City anymore. So I will go on eBay and immediately after the game, they'll be for sale. Sometimes during the game, I think people take a picture of the shirt while it's on their lap and they're sitting at the ball game. But I will purchase them. And 9 times out of 10, unless it's for a wildly popular player or the T-shirt design is really, really sought after, or if it's something like they had, they had those 86 World Series throwback jerseys that people got free at the games. I bought 2 of those and they were like $45 a pop, which isn't that bad, when you think about it. But you add that up over a course of many wins, and I probably buy more Mets T-shirts than any human needs. Like I've got I mean, if you've never met me in person, chances are, if you're listening to this show, but if you have met me in person, you know that my wardrobe is basically which Mets shirt am I wearing today? It makes dressing easy. And, as it turns out, orange and blue, the single greatest color combination that's ever been come across in the history of color combinations. So it all works out well. But no, with the sneakers, that's just like, I love Adidas so much. I love sneakers so much. And I've got so many pairs of sneakers that I haven't ever worn. And I don't think I ever will wear. And they're just there so I can know that I have them. Like, I've got a pair of Dikembe Mutombo signature high top sneakers. The guy that used to play for the Houston Rockets, the no guy who would waggle his finger as soon as he stuffed the ball in your face. I've got a pair of Dikembe Mutombos that I don't see ever coming out of the box, but I love knowing that I have them. Sort of the Imelda Marcos of the alternative rock world. But it's limited to sneakers. But I don't know if I do anything. I don't know if I spend money to cheer myself up. And I really don't. I don't know. Are you? I'm not an extravagant person. Are you, Funkhouser? Like, is there anything that you, when you really want to treat yourself to something, is there anything that you've gone like, oh man, like what's your biggest expense?
My biggest expense. Ooh, I go on vacation sometimes. I just go to Vegas. So that's a big expense. I can't think of anything else that I spend a lot of money on. I don't really spend a lot of money on stuff. I'm commuting now, so I'm buying a lot of gas. Take care of the car.
Yeah.
Rent is very expensive.
Yeah. It's not something I really classify. I mean, those are fundamental things that you need to go through life. All that extravagant gasoline that you get to go to and from your many jobs. Ha! Who do you think you are? People are starving in other countries. How dare you? It doesn't really fall into that category.
Yeah, no. So I'd probably say vacation. That's probably the thing.
Yeah.
What about you?
I like to own houses. I think that's my biggest expense.
Yeah. I just started looking into buying stock. I'm really interested in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So not to, what's the name of the what's the guy with a southern accent that does the financial show?
That's Dave Ramsey you talking about there?
Yeah,
Dave Ramsey.
Not to get all Dave Ramsey on your ass, but you know what I like about owning a home? And bear in mind, I never ever in a million bazillion years would have thought that I could own a home. Never would have thought. But I did live in Houston, Texas when I bought my first home. I was living there. If I was still in New York City, not a freaking prayer. And if I, was doing that thing where like I am now, where I'm going back and forth from California to Houston, and I never could have bought a home in California at the time, but I bought my first home in Houston right after the mortgage crisis, right after the market crash. So every single home was foreclosed. There was a screaming deal on everything. And I'd been saving for years and renting for years. And
it sounds like buying a house made you really happy. Maybe you're just happy once every 15 years.
Well, the thing about buying the house was I guess 2010, maybe 2000. If the market crashed in 2008, maybe 2009 or 2010 was when I bought. I can't really remember. But, and I wasn't really making any money in radio. I'd seen all these shows about flipping. And I was just like, well, there's all these foreclosed homes. Maybe I could buy one of these and flip them. And the house was nothing. The house was under $200,000. And the mortgage payment on it was way less than I was paying in rent. And I'd saved up enough to put down the piddly deposit on it that I put on it. And so it was pretty easy because nobody else was buying anything. But the house had fallen into disrepair because the last person had let it foreclose and they weren't looking after it. So, drywall, did, kitchen, did tile, did stuff like that. Nothing too crazy, but, did it and actually made a profit off of it when I sold it. And that was the thing that really taught me about what I at least like about real estate. Not, like I said, not to get all Dave Ramsey on your ass, but if you buy, what are some of the other investments?
If you buy some other investments, I'll tell you need $1,000 in the bank before you do anything.
Well, if you buy stock, or if you buy bonds, or if you buy gold. All right, this gold is a great example. We're out of show.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Unreal. Well, the bottom line is you can't polish that piece of gold up and make it worth any more than the market says it's worth. I can paint some gutters, I can, put new tile in, and I can vastly increase the value of my investment if it's a home. It's the only thing I know where you have actual physical control over the value of it. And being a OCD control freak, I like that. I really do.